Drum roll, please. We have finally reached our top 5 Boston Red Sox prospects for the 2026 season as voted on by the contributors at TalkSox.com. Now, we rank the top 20. If you're looking for the rest of the list, there are videos covering 6 through 10, 11 through 15, and 16 through 20. Additionally, there are standalone articles on TalkSox.com that covers prospects 1 through 10, plus articles for 11 through 15 and 16 through 20. Now, you will see those articles pop up on this video, and so make sure you visit Talk Sox for a little bit of a deeper dive, their scouting profile, what 2026 might look like, and future projection. Starting with right-handed pitcher Juan Valera. Now, this is a guy who has a lot of horizontal movement on his pitches. His fastball, which sits in the upper 90s, can touch triple digits, has good glove side ride to it, and so you're looking at more of a cutter type of a pitch. He also has a sweeper that he uses against right-handers, and that looks like more of a tighter slider against left-handers. Now, to change up that movement profile a little bit, he is working to develop a two-seam fastball, which would have more arm side ride to it. And when you have a pitch coming at you, or a fastball in particular coming at you in the upper 90s, maybe even triple digits, imagine how hard it can be if you don't know whether that pitch is going to start tailing on you or riding on you. I mean, how do you even hit that as a big league batter? He also has a changeup, though that is very much a work in progress. So right now he's very much a power pitcher that features strong glove side movement. Now, while that arsenal isn't overly deep, he can actually command the strike zone extremely well. He had a 6% walk rate last year and a 28% strikeout rate, which are both really, really good numbers. And so if he can deepen that arsenal, if he can figure out that changeup and have it sit upper 80s, low 90s, then he is somebody that has, mid-rotation, maybe even a little bit higher type of upside. But given how electric his profile is, if they end up moving off of him as a rotation candidate, then you're looking at somebody who can really fast track to the major leagues as a high leverage relief option. And then coming in at number 4, another pitcher, right-hander Kyson Witherspoon. Now, he's another guy who has a really good fastball. Now, this one maybe doesn't touch triple digit, but it sits in the mid to upper 90s. And I think he has a really good pitch mix as well. He features a low 90s cutter, but then he can also give you kind of a Euro slider. So you have two pitches that have some glove side movement to them. One is, a little bit tighter. One's a little bit more loopy. And then he can also come at you with a curveball. So then we're talking even more of a glove side loop type of action. So again, really leaving hitters kind of guessing like, yeah, I know this pitch is probably going to move on me glove side, but is it going to be tight? Is it going to be fast? Is it going to be slow and looping? All of that is running through the hitter's mind in the half second that the pitch is getting to the plate. He also has a changeup that's very much a work in progress, and that is probably the development of that pitch is probably what's going to, kind of limit his upside or allow him to reach his ceiling. Now, that's not to say that he has a low ceiling. As of right now, he is projected as a mid-rotation starter, which is obviously very solid. And because he just has such a deep mix and he can really control and command it well, we're looking at somebody who we probably won't see in 2026 at the major league level, but possibly in 2027. Entering the top 3, we have shortstop Franklin Arias. Now, he is definitely a contact over power type of hitter, but that's not to say that he generates weak contact. He actually has pretty good exit velocities. It's just that the launch angle isn't there, and you can see that due to an elevated ground ball rate. But again, he has an elite contact profile. You're looking at a guy with a 94% in-zone contact rate. That means that when he swings at pitches that are in the strike zone, he makes contact 94% of the time. And he has a strikeout rate that's at just 10%. So again, he's elite at making contact. I think the biggest thing for him developmentally, though, is going to be we do have to see that contact, quantity of contact is good, but what does that quality look like? Again, yes, good EVs, but if you're just pounding that into the ground, that's not going to lead to a lot of base hits. On the other side of the ball, he's just solid, fundamentally sound, really good instincts. He's going to stick at shortstop, and that's kind of what he projects as. Is, again, if his bat doesn't really change a lot, you're looking at probably somebody that's lower in the order, maybe up higher in the order, kind of depending on how he can change that quality of contact. It's one thing to be a one-hitter and be able to put the ball in play, but again, if you're not getting on base, that's not overly helpful. So I think, you're looking at like a 1 or 2 hitter, or maybe 7, 8, 9, but he's going to be in the field he's going to be in the lineup because his glove is good, and he just projects as kind of like a average, everyday shortstop. And now we get to the fun names. 2 names that we've heard a lot about in spring training. We're going to hear a lot about throughout 2026, and we're probably going to see in 2026. But what order do they fall in? Pause the video and let us know in the comments. Is it going to be Connelly Early and then Payton Tolle, or is it going to be Payton Tolle and then Connelly Early? Pause and let us know. We have it as left-handed pitcher Connelly Early, ranked as the number 2 Boston Red Sox prospect headed into 2026. Now, he's not necessarily an overpowering pitcher. He's not somebody that has, super really good stuff, but he's just crafty, and he can handle the strike zone extremely well. His fastball sits in like the mid-90s, and he's able to control his secondary offerings at an elite level. Against righties, he'll lean on a mid-80s changeup, and that has that, you're typically looking for about 10 miles an hour of separation off of that, off the fastball, and so that's perfect right there. Against lefties, you're looking at a low 80s sweeper, and extremely small sample size, but in 2025, against 10 regular season swings, you know how many people made contact? 0. 100% whiff rate on that pitch. So again, he doesn't necessarily have the stuff or the upside of like a top end rotation arm, but he's somebody that projects to be a mid, maybe low end rotation arm, but just a workhorse. He can eat innings because of his ability to pound the strike zone. So again, not an overpowering guy, but a very important type of pitcher to have in your rotation. So then that leaves us with the 6'6", 250-pound left-handed starting pitcher Payton Tolle as the top Boston Red Sox prospect as voted on by the contributors at TalkSox.com. Now, given his size, he has an elite 7.5-foot extension down the mound. And what that means is that his fastball that only sits mid to upper 90s. It did touch 98, but that plays up given his extension. Again, when we're talking about a pitch hit coming into the zone, we're looking at a half second less than that even. And so every inch that you can get where your release point is closer to the plate is just going to make it more challenging for batters. For his secondary pitches, he has really leaned on an upper 80s, low 90s cutter. And so, again, we're talking about differences in velocity there. So that's a good difference from his mid to upper 90s fastball. And he also has a Euro slider, a kick change, and a curveball. So a very deep arsenal, which is why he's clearly sticking as a rotation arm. Again, small sample alert in 2025, but in that small sample, he did struggle a little bit commanding the strike zone. And that's going to be the story of whether he becomes the front line arm, maybe behind Garrett Crochet that everybody kind of thinks he's going to become, or if maybe he's more of a mid-rotation, is can he control those secondaries? Either way, his fastball is phenomenal, has a lot of ride to it. It's going to play up given his extension. And again, a lot of people are banking on him to be a top of the rotation arm along with Garrett Crochet for the foreseeable future. And folks, that is a wrap on the Boston Red Sox top 20 prospects as voted on the contributors from TalkSox.com. To recap the top 5, we had Juan Valera, Kyson Witherspoon, Franklin Arias, Connelly Early, and number 1 in the entire organization, Payton Tolle. Very heavy in pitching prospects as we move up. That makes sense. Red Sox recently, we had Roman Anthony graduate from the list. We traded Kyle Teal in order to get Garrett Crochet, and we've had some other graduates who have made the major league level. So that's probably why the Red Sox right now, according to Baseball America at least, their farm system is ranked 15th in baseball. Is it unrealistic to ask them to be in the top 10 all the time? Not necessarily, but it makes sense when we've had all these graduates acquiring Sonny Gray, Garrett Crochet, and things like that. So just a really solid top of the list there, especially from a pitching perspective, guys that you're going to see as soon as 2026. Make sure you're following us on all our social medias and visit TalkSox.com for your latest Boston Red Sox news.